Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Welcome, welcome. We're here to play some more Last Epoch. Have a good time, hang out, have some fun, relax. It's Friday. What's going on? We did a little bit of stream prep, not a ton, but a little bit. We got our corruption up to 311, so we're rolling a bit. We switched over to a new, actually an old pair of boots at this point, but I do have a new one to replace these, prepped to go, that we're gonna slam. We're gonna slam these live at some point. Slammed my relics. I found an extra one. Got max rolls, which is pretty sweet. What else did I do? Oh, I replaced the helmet. We're gonna have a lot of ward now. We're gonna have a lot of ward. Pretty excited about that. No, let's just hop right in. We're trying to push to see if we can bump this corruption up as high as we can. Might as well go this way. Let's see what happens. If you have a question for me, please answer it. Please put at Last Epoch Game in the question. Oh, you got someone already. Awesome. If you are on YouTube, I think it's just at Last Epoch. And I'll be happy to answer them. We also stream for charity. Charity's above my head, Child's Play. That I just get to play our game today. I think we're doing a little more damage, but the big takeaway here is our ward is dramatically improved. Our cooldown on our shift is way higher now, unfortunately, and I wanted to get rid of the guile, so it's going to be even higher. Which is frustrating, but I think overall it's better. We're not moving anywhere near as much. I think we're doing a lot more damage with a lot more survivability. That's good. Cool. Just see what would happen if I took it. That's right, totally intentional. Woo! Sound is out of whack. How is the sound out of whack? How? Please describe the whack outness of the sound. I'll be trying my best to fix it. Game sound is a bit delayed. Wild. That's happened before. I'm very unsure as to what causes that one. I'm gonna hop into questions. Even sounds like 2 to 3 seconds delayed. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna say now at the same time as I use smoke bomb. 1, 2, 3, now. What do you think a timeline would be for a whole new class and or just a new mastery in an existing one? I can't give you an exact timeline. I mean, the next whole new class is the Paradox class coming in the expansion Last Epoch Orbis. Too easy. After that, it's kind of hard to tell when the next class will be, or next mastery even, because I don't think we've fully decided what it's going to be yet or which patch it's going to be in, sort of thing. I think that there is a huge amount of the mastery requirements to complete a new mastery comes in the form of skills production. We've got a very large set of people working on skills stuff production for LEO right now, and once we're all done working on that, there's gonna be a whole bunch of us freed out freed up to work on new stuff. 3-second delay in the whole stream sound. Oof. That's frustrating. What can I do to fix that? Anyone know a quick way to fix that? Oh no, OBS is responding perfectly in sync with my talking. Yeah, like perfect. Whoa. Whoa, I think that's one of the biggest, there we go, 10 in a row. Furtado2623, thank you very much for gifting all those subs to the stream, and congrats to everyone who got one of those. Wow. That's 10 subs in a row, that's awesome, thank you. We will get some children playing. Not specific ones, just the charity, you know. I'm hearing the drop sound and it's getting me. Each time one of them triggers. Like, oh, something dropped. Oh my god, yes! My brain is just trained to register that sound as very positive. Which it is a good thing. It's just, it's different positive thing that my brain's trained to register it as. Okay. And Master of Puppos, Master of Puppos. Thank you very much for the sub. I'm gonna say puppers at first. All right, let's get some more questions rolling. Sound being delayed is probably frustrating. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it right now. If someone knows a way to fix it, I'd appreciate that. All right. Hi all. Hello. Hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. I did not know that was this weekend. Cool. That makes sense of why people are out on Monday. Right. Was wondering if you saw the most recent Chris Wilson video on surveys. I did. I even replied many times to the Reddit thread about it. I got stuff to talk about it. I think it's a great video. Wanted to talk to you about that strategy going forward, or if that made you think about how you receive feedback in the future. I mean, yeah. So I think that, so here's part of the problem. Is this what I said in on the Reddit thread, and you know, I got a little disagreement from people about it, which is totally fair. I don't think so. The Reddit thread was kind of like implying that it was like specifically targeted at us, sort of thing. I don't think that's what it was. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't talk to Chris frequently, so who knows really? But I don't think it was like, hey, last Epoch just put out a survey, I'm gonna make this video. I don't think that's what it was. I think just talking in general. I also think that the specific types of surveys that we've been doing and generally try to do actually follow the guidelines that he put forth in attempting to solicit feedback from your player base, in that you're asking for something specific as a problem and not looking for them to suggest solutions, which I think is what our surveys are generally trying to do. it's a tricky topic. Like there's it's been a while since I've seen exactly what he said, so I don't remember exactly what he said, but there was Day 9 had a really good video about soliciting feedback from players as a game developer. This is a pretty good one. Wish I remember what he said. I think one of the big important things to note about feedback threads like that, where we're saying like, hey, we want feedback on this specific topic with these specific, possibly too narrow or possibly too broad, or it doesn't include the exact answer I want options, is we're often looking for like the fans' priorities is what we're trying to get straight, because sometimes our priorities and your priorities don't line up exactly on like when we're looking at fixing something. And that's not to say those are the only things we work on. It's just that those are the sometimes, if you have, I think the example I use is if you have 10 developers and 3 problems, and how do you assign those 10 people to those 3 problems? Because you can't do it equally. Different people have different strengths. Different people have systems they've worked in more. And I think one thing to get clear is maybe as developers or as designers, we think that, hey, this is a really big problem. We have to fix this. But maybe your community's like, well, yeah, that is a problem. You do have to fix it. But this other thing is worse. And you should really be focusing more on that instead. And so it's less about getting a clear, like, this is the answer of what we're going to do next, and more of just giving players a seat at the table in our discussions internally. So we know more clearly what's the mentality is of our player base. Also, sometimes there's people that don't like, and like, so another critique I saw of the surveys in general was that we should just be reading the feedback channels we already have. And yes, those are very good sources of feedback, and we do read those quite a bit. They just don't always encompass all the player base. And I got stuck on the side of that wall there for a little second. And sometimes there's players that will not be comfortable reading or writing and participating in like a forum style discussion, but they are very comfortable with just picking an answer from a survey. We're trying to just get a wider range of voices as well. Right. Hey Mike, can we get the Dreadshade MTX effect as a better visual effect on the skill directly without requiring to buy the MTX? Probably not, but we can, like, if the visual VFX that's just like on the base one isn't like cutting it, that's definitely the sort of thing that we can upgrade and make better in general. But like when something is like a MTX visuals and people have paid specifically for that thing, giving it to everyone and then changing what they've paid for kind of devalues their purchase. I think, yes, it gives more options, but it also says like, hey, that thing that you bought, well, now everyone has it, and here's this other thing that maybe you just don't like. So you effectively bought something you didn't want to buy or didn't like. I think that's probably the reason why we wouldn't do something like that. I could be wrong about that one. That's a Mike speculation moment. Not sure if you can answer, but are there any plans to give Marksman a touch-up / more shadow synergy? Shadows in general, we try to keep that. So one of the core things, rewind. We're always hitting every class. There's very large changes to every single skill in Marksman coming in LEO. I use this as a cheat line. I say it all the time because I can say it about any class mastery. So yay! The shadow synergy specifically is something that we generally try to, like, have secondary support for outside of Blade Dancer, because that's sort of Blade Dancer's thing. It's like melee and shadows, and like shadows have definitely shifted more towards a general rogue thing as opposed to a Blade Dancer thing. But you'll notice most of the bonuses for it are in Blade Dancer, and that is intentional and probably will stay that way for the most part. And like, yeah, there are like Falconer has it the second most for sure, but yeah. What is going on? That was weird. I like stunned or something. Probably just like stunned or immobilized. Wasn't paying attention well enough. Bunch of tier 1s, not picking that up. Wait, what am I talking about? I thought it was that. All I did was look at the tiers. It's funny. Thought it was an altar for a second. Hello! What do you think of once a skill level is unlocked, it gets free to be allocated? No more XP requirement. You could still limit skill point changes to be done only outside monos. I think there's real value in the progression of a skill leveling system. I think that giving a player, especially like 20 points at level 1 to Summon Wolf, completely restructures the entire balancing of the early game. And I think that the abilities that would be unlocked in Rogue would have to be rethunk quite heavily, because there's quite often when we're looking at an ability, when we're looking at a skill tree for it, we're looking at it and saying, hey, when this unlocks, at most you're only going to have access to a few these few points. But when like Hail of Arrows unlocks, you're going to have access to a lot more points right away. And we take that into account when we're making the skill trees. I think that having, in general, I'm really interested in loosening up the skill, I think that let me rephrase this. I think there's a lot of value in homogenizing the skill respec system in general, so that the way you respec passives and the way you respec skills is the same. I think that would be really, really helpful. I think that what we've done when we've shied away so hard from having this burden of optimal play, and I think this is a recurring theme that I think you'll hear from me a few times, is that we've looked at this burden of optimal play situation. We've said, hey, let's try and avoid that by doing ABC, and that like extra thing we do to avoid that burden of optimal play for players quite often ends up being something that makes it less fun for people who are just trying to play the game. So that's something that we're really trying to like steer away from and bring back to, hey, what's just fun to play with and what's smooth and enjoyable and works well. Let's go with that first, and then if it's like a real problem we notice, then maybe we can address that problem a different way. Okay. Someone needs to get their damage up, and that someone is me. More damage, Mike. What are you doing?
Nowhere to run. Static, remember.
Okay. So yeah, we are looking at like shifting skill. Sorry, I was like blanked. I was answering a question in the middle. Lex was trying not to die here. Shifting the. Oh, should have just kept my mouth shut. Ah. Yeah, our resistances are garbage. Should probably just like fix these from doing damage and actually just make them do resistances and stuff. Hey, 2 LP Harbinger. That's pretty cool. That is very cool. Oh yeah, I was gonna craft this on stream. That's the thing. So I've still got a bunch of forging potential, but we got stuff to do on it. We got work. It's got work to do. Okay. I think the first thing is we don't actually need the crit avoidance on this because we've got crit avoidance sorted elsewhere. We're way overcapped on crit avoidance. This ward gained when you use game on use with smoke bomb. We need to get rid of that, but we don't have any of that node of that to chaos away. So I think the first thing I actually have to do is I want to get this to the T7 and I want to chaos this away. I'm going to start by just highlighting that in our loot filters, just get some. Ward. Smoke bomb, right? Horn gain and use a smoke bomb. Just anything with that on it. Okay. We're gonna do something else in the meantime. We'll come back to that. Yeah, so like we're looking at changing how the skill respec system works because it doesn't encourage early experimentation enough. I don't think it's as punishing as it's perceived to be, but I think the perception is more important than what it actually is in this situation, especially for when you're just starting out, because you don't like you have that first experience where you unspecialize it and you lose all your points and you go, oh, I didn't know that's how it worked, and you think that sucks, I'm never doing that again, and you don't have the like real clear understanding that, hey, it wasn't that bad, it's gonna come back faster, all that sort of stuff yet. And so yes, we've been actively very much talking about this. Surprisingly good helmet. Surprisingly good. Right. Outside of the game, is there anything on the back end of EHG where you're allowed to share? Maybe an aspect of what you could use more work, or something you particularly proud of that you want to shine some light on? Not yet. There's something that might be coming fairly soon about that I think will be very fun to share. Outside of the game, that's the tricky part. I really love everyone that we work with, and it's still fantastic every day.
Easy. Too easy.
I don't have anything good for this right now. That's a tough question, but yes, I think I'll have something fun in that category. Hopefully coming up in a little bit, few weeks. Hello, Mike. What can we expect from skill sigils? Like, how many sigils per skill? Will it change elements, or is it more about the entire skill augment to modify completely? I don't have any details I can share with you yet because it is a last epoch Orbis mechanic and not a 1.5 mechanic. So we're going to be focusing on 1.5 things as far as sharing information well before we do any LEO specifics yet. Probably shouldn't even be saying as much as I have, but I've just been working on it, so I can't keep my mouth shut. all we can really talk about is that it's like it's a pretty heavy system upgrade for the skill system. Heavy might be the wrong term. Significant, substantial is better. There we go. Oh, what do you think about lowering the maximum forging potential loss on crafts? Like maybe 20-30%. Love the RNG, but we have layered more RNG over RNG, making it even harder. Yeah. I go back and forth on this so much. I think sometimes having those little hits of like 3 or 4 nothing got lost in a row is really nice. You drop down the variance and you drop down the top end, even if you just cut down the top end of what it can be, and you do start to get a little bit of, I think, you might start to get to the point where you expect the craft to be like, okay, well, it dropped with 35 forging potential, and I need to make these 12 operations on it to really make it awesome. I should be able to expect that to happen pretty clearly. And when it does happen, it's kind of like, okay, great. What happened? What I expected to happen happened. And when it doesn't happen, it's like, oh my gosh, what didn't happen, what shouldn't have happened happened. That's terrible. I think that it kind of, there's a possibility that something like that could put us into a position where there's room for failure, but not room for success in each individual like craft event. Like, for each individual item that you go crafting on. That was close. I need to get this ward per shadow node on my chest as well. I'm pretty sure it can be there in the chest. Oh, what is your favorite feature in any game that you would like to see added to last Epoch? Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, no, it's not a weapon swap. I want weapon swap. Probably actually like serious answers only mode. Probably procedural generation for echoes would probably be the thing that I'd want. I'm a really big fan of it, and I know it's not for everyone, and not everyone likes it, and all that sort of stuff. It's just like a personal. That's my favorite. And I really like learning patterns for different zones as well. So like, I don't know if you ever played like a ton of I played a ton of Diablo 2, and so like last season, like new season's just starting, right? New ladder, sorry. And where's it going? 'Cause we're going corruption here. We're going corruption hunting. And like the terror zones were happening, and I could get like, I think I had 35 in a single half-hour stretch was my fastest number of like Andy kills in a half hour in a terror zone. Wrote it down somewhere. Did I write it down? My. None of these bajillion sticky notes have it. Wild. Okay. It's fine. Will Shadow Daggers be more interesting in later seasons? I mean, they're already crazy powerful. You can get them from lots of different sources. I don't think there's any substantial changes coming to them, really. Yeah. Hey, Mike. Oh, the mask node is super terrible in the Woven Tree. Please, can it be buffed to actually provide defensive buffs as it states? Yes. Is this Frozen? I do have a note here, if this is you as well. Or just if you've been talking to him. Wrong key. We got it that oh, good golly. Because I used the... Open the portal, so I started a Draggro. Is this an arena? No. Our mana's struggling a little bit again because shift is our mana generation when we drop all that cooldown on shift and lose a fair bit of mana there. Can I open that, please? Yeah. So I got asked to figure out what that actually does. If anyone's listening that can check what that actually does, give it a shot. I do have that on my to-do list today. I think part of the problem is we don't want to provide really dramatic power boosts from those things, so you're not like, okay, I'm gonna roll until I get it. We don't want like pushing to be required for it on a specific build. I think that would suck. But it is, like, we are capable of buffing it. Oh, why can't we move around with the passive skill window open? Can you make toggle for that? I'm not sure why that was specifically changed. I think it's probably to try to discourage people from trying to do it and possibly getting yourself killed. But if you're used to it and suddenly you can't do it, it might be getting you killed more now. We're really trying to avoid putting a bajillion toggles in the skills panel, or in the options panel, because there's already way too many of them. I guess there's a possibility that, like, given on like an ultra wide setup, there's a lot more room to maneuver, and it's actually like a functional thing. I know that might be the reason why it was turned off. Actually, I'd be pretty surprised on that one. What do you think about creating a leaderboard of corruption level or Aberoth kill, etc., but only common magic, etc. gear? Will give even more basic crafting motivation for lower gear. Don't know if it's even difficult to implement. Yeah, it's not terrible to do. It's I think they'll be tricky, but not terrible to do. I think having these like really niche build challenge ladders is fun and interesting. I don't know if it's really great to put it into formalize it, because I think it causes this expectation that it's like a mode we're supporting. Hello, Echo. Okay, first, I do want to try this. Not gonna work. Not gonna do it. I'm just gonna fail again. I was really hoping to find more of those shards to shatter. Maybe I should be chaosing other things. Maybe get it. Will we have void spells in the future, or void conversion unique / sets? Looking forward for more diversity play. I mean, there already are some, so there are some of both those things. I do agree that there's a bit of a gap there, and that's a pretty logical place to expand into. Void Knight does have things that are just like void spells, right? And there's void conversions from items on Mage versus void spells for sure. But you know, it's not there yet. Like a void caster is not really an archetype that's, I guess, fully supported. Are you gonna keep the end game as it is? Both my friends and I always swap away from this game to other RPGs because the end game is confusing and not rewarding enough, even though we like the core feel of the gameplay. Yeah, like every season comes with updates to the end game. We're gonna keep doing that. We're gonna keep updating it every season. Yeah. I think the core progression of like how endgame functions, we're making that distilling that process a little bit, I think, down, so it'll be better. Now a real question. Was it a real question before? Do you think a musical class like Bard, Minstrel, or Skald could eventually fit into Last Epoch? Yes. Like a very tentative yes, hesitant yes. I think it could. It is possible. I think we would need to look at the like what thematic functionality does that bring that we don't really have access to elsewhere. I think that's the big question that would have to be answered first. Is Mortitas's class related to shamans? A question like this got asked last week, and I would say it's related in the sense that it has some similarities, that there's some elemental overlap, there's some like fighting style-ish overlap, but like it's not close enough to call him a shaman. If you had to pick one of the classes, which I don't think is really something you have to do, I'd say it's probably the closest one, but still tenuous. For endgame, what about if you complete a number of specific echoes and chains and get a specific individual boss, which would cost development time, cost development time for sure, but with specific reward title, pet equal, would give an addition, focus, endgame motivation. But with a specific reward title or pet, I think. You've got it sounds like you've got an idea here. I'm having a tough time parsing it from this. Like this sounds like a good thing to put in a suggestions channel. We can read it properly. If you're asking just like what about just adding cosmetic rewards to specific challenges in the game, that's something we're open to. Love this game. Thanks. Are there any plans to help newer players identify rare loot with the loot filter without needing external guides? For example, Red Ring with no LP might not seem valuable. So if we're talking about so I think that as soon as you get to the point where you're finding gear that's like really valuable, almost every single time you've played long enough where you're probably able to understand that pretty well. Having said that, if you're playing Merchant's Guild, there's a lot of things that might sell well that don't necessarily directly appear as, hey, this is good to sell. So that's a process that we were really interested in improving, and you can look forward to hearing more information about that from us in the semi-near future. Alright. What is the philosophy when it comes to where and when to give COF specific bonuses to certain mechanics and item types? Great question. Probably can't answer very well for you. It feels like early on you were more keen on giving every piece of content its own tailored COF bonus, but not so much nowadays. An example being tier 7 being an exalted mage only bonus with some, while something like Omen Windows or Rift Beast not getting the same treatment. Yeah. In general, there's like generic enough bonuses in COF where there's some indirect bonuses for it, and that's generally considered to be enough. I don't know if it is enough, and I think having the signposted specifics is pretty important. I'd really like to see there be more explicit things in COF that say, hey, like, oh, you're trying to interact with this mechanic, here you go, here's the way to interact with this mechanic, clearly labeled in COF. I think that would be, in general, the way we should go. I think there's, the way it's set up right now, there's not really enough room to do that with. Are you happy with the overall idol altar system? Yeah, fantastic, very happy with it. And the amount of different stats they provide. And what do you think about the corruption stat collection on idols? Good. Bow damage on primalist idols, mage idols does not make sense, and a bit more class oriented or basic utility stats would be nice. Yeah, having incompatible things, this is, I think, goes right back to why am I finding minion stats on my mage gear when there's no minions? And I think that if there's, so like if I'm playing as a pure fire mage, finding cold stats is just as useful as finding minion stats, you know? And I think it's that like potential for it to be possibly, like, it makes sense for it to appear that makes it feel worse. Or like, sorry, the potential for it to be functional makes it feel better. So when there's no potential at all for it to ever work, it feels worse. And that's something that we are trying to address with gear in general. Just having it be a little bit smarter and a little bit choosier in what it can put together in what scenario, so that it feels like there's a higher quality of loot in general. There is a higher quality of loot in general dropping. Without skewing the overall, like, time to item X. Mike, why isn't there a node that turns multi-shot into a shotgun style? Isn't that, I could have sworn there was. There's no one that like cuts the projectiles. There we go. Right there. I'm using it. Maybe I shouldn't be using it. Nah, I probably should be using it. It'd be more realistic, multiple arrows, but only one hit of damage. Okay, yeah, so like, I see what you're saying. So like, this so visual, oh, okay, so what you're suggesting, actually, it's a little bit different than this, actually. So you're suggesting having it be a like a cone attack instead of being several arrows that can each hit the same target. I think that's just a matter of like, hey, it's thematically, it is multiple arrows being shot, so multi-shot needs to be multiple arrows. You know, like, it's just multi-shot is one arrow. It kind of, you know, turns into puncture or whatever, I guess. Are we getting an overhaul on game balance? We're always doing things to change, game balance in general. I don't know, like a specific targeted overhaul in the entire game's balance is really appropriate. Way to say it. Like there's I think sometimes really small changes can have a lot bigger impact. Than they might seem initially. I'm gonna say no to this question, but we are always like doing pretty big changes to balance in general. So I think that if there's, I think the one thing that can maybe seem like we're not here we go. I think one way that maybe we can seem like there's less happening balance wise than there actually is that if something that's near the top stays near the top. It matters less if like if you've got like 1 is up here and like 2 is down here, and maybe like then like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are all like down here in a chunk. And even if you bring like all of like 2 through 10 up to here, it feels like nothing happened because 1 is still way up here. I think that can and probably has happened a few times. Okay, we're doing the boss first. We have a lot of gaze, so we don't actually need more right now. You get more. This is something I'm excited to get rid of too. Gaze is solving a problem that I am pleased that we probably won't need to solve soon. Any plans for in-game store UI update? It was fine when there were only a few items, but as it's growing, it's getting a bit crowded and there aren't many options to filter or sort. I don't know. I know that, so actually, yes, I do know there is. Because we're kind of overhauling might be the wrong word. We're kind of taking a pass through all of the, what is the shot button? Don't even know the hotkey, I opened it earlier. We're going through most, if not all, of the UI in the game right now and making some pretty big updates. You may notice that the tooltip changed recently. The stash is up for a big change really soon. There's a few other things as well that are coming down the pipe, and so yeah, the store is probably one of those things as well. Love the challenge with the veterans boots, but still would love to have it just like hardcore as an option to switch. Still no plans for that. Oh, like a character descriptor toggle, so that you hear and you're just like really difficult mode. I was gonna like literally just say the term they use in other games, which is fine, I guess. I turned that off. Oh no, I didn't turn that off because it wouldn't let me do just on Fridays.
Easy. Too easy.
Good golly. Yeah. All right. One more. Here we go. We already have this Harbinger, so we're not actually gonna get the. Already goes this way. Okay. Be careful, Mike. Don't die. Keep your ward up. I will go back to answering questions as soon as I'm in the boss fight, I promise. I just am not as good and strong as I would like to be. Focusing is hard, apparently. There we go. All right. Ooh. Oh, that's the tiniest of downgrades. The tiniest of downgrades. On the forging potential issue, what about a hard process, for example, 100 corruption woven echo to get 1 forging potential from 0 forging potential, so we could roll. So when it rolls currency or crummy, you can still salvage that unlucky -12 that bricked your item. So this has the same issue of, like, if you've been following along to the other suggestions that have come up about this sort of thing recently, this has the same issue as most of those. So the anything in this category would need to cause the item to only be able to have this happen to at one time, and have the item, but not have it be corrupted. So it can't be actually corrupted. It's like partially corrupted. It's like corrupt, because it would need to not be tradable. Actually, it doesn't matter if it's tradable or not, but it can't be corruptible. It can only happen once, and because it would have to go through the trade system because of this, it would need to be it would create a new category in the trade system and would change the item serialization. So yeah, it needs to not be able to do this more than one time on the item. And that's the key thing, is that because it has to do it, because it's a one-time limit to each individual item. That's where the problem is. As soon as you get something that says, like, it can only happen on this item once, that's the issue. Hello! Any chance for Swarm really to get some love in the future? Love the transformation, but it feels a bit outdated, especially with the endgame builds. I think this will be concentrating a giant tornado covering my character. Or casting, I don't know. Creating? Something like that. I think there's, I think there's a lot of room for cool things to happen in Swarmblade. I think it has the disadvantage of not being a really well-established archetype already, which is like a good thing and a bad thing for it, because it has this like freedom that it can kind of do what it wants as a transform, but it also has that lack of, hey, I'm gonna be a bear. Dang it. This is the void res problem that we're having. I just want void res though. Give me my void res. All right. No health regen, but flat health is fine. We're still like overcapped on lightning, yeah. Let's go, one more try.
You and I are bound by the same chains, traveler.
It's actually good this is the lightning one. That void attack we need to watch out for. All right. Yeah, Stormblades, I think it's a really fun class. I think it's a really, and I do have some cool things planned for it. I'm the only one. We have some very cool things planned for it. I really want to encourage in general, not just specifically for Stormblade. I do want to encourage more variety in shapeshifting. Like, I would love to see a shapeshifting build pop up that's like, I'm a shapeshifter, I'm not a Stormblade, you know? There we go.
Chains return, but what's of yours?
Okay, good. It is dropping that. You know, we're gonna keep that on what we're doing. Is it possible? Oh, I answered that. Oh no, is it possible for the Dreadshade visuals to be more clearer? Oh no, you did answer that. Yeah, okay, sweet. When it comes to ailments, especially non-damaging ones, it seems Armor Shred is killing our is king for DPS boosting. Other plans for addressing that? Probably not. It might be too readily available in certain situations, but I wouldn't say that it is a like mechanically problematic thing. And boy knows, one sec. Much better. I can breathe again. 365. We're getting up there. We're pushing. Armor Shred is nice because it is, I think part of the reason why it might seem so good as well is because it is pretty generically useful for hit damage, and hit is crit, and crit is really good, really popular. It translates into party play really well. It does have diminishing returns, I think, as you get like crazy high. But you need to get pretty high for that to start to kick in, whereas a lot of the other ones cap out at like 10 or 12 or something.
Focus your mind.
But, you know, I'd argue there's probably some that are like pretty similarly important, even if they're less prioritized because they're easier to cap out. So things like frailty, which I don't think I'm actually applying right now, or very limited. It's showing up. Do you have any plans to make divergent uniques that have one or more stat changed from the original design? I mean, yeah, we've done that a few times where there's like two uniques that are basically the same except they've got like a twist, like an element is different. Or there's 3 amulets where they interact with each a different curse, but they're the same otherwise. And we've definitely, there have been uniques. I don't have good examples. I wish I had a good example off the top of my head. But there are uniques where we've started with one unique and gone like, I wish this would interact with this skill this way, or I wish this would be slightly different into this thing. But if we just change it, it's not going to be, like it's going to lose out on the thing that it's doing now that's really good as well. And so there's some uniques, and usually we'll change other stats on them as well to like make them feel more interesting as like a base change or synergize with the new stats better. That's been a starting point a few times. I just glanced the chat. Audi, you did not get banished to the Shadow Realm. I see you typing in chat.
Wild and free.
Sometimes questions in general do get missed. I do apologize. It's not not intentional.
Save their skulls.
That was close.
There's like the people grabbing the questions are like bouncing back and forth between chat and like a document that they're pasting them in for me, so that I can just like I'm just like, here's the next question. I can just read it casually, instead of having to like parse through each question in chat. So sometimes questions might get like asked while they're looking away or something. Bones. Hope you're doing well, Mike. I am, thank you. Question: what's HG thoughts on bringing a mercenary or merc type companion to the game? This is a cool question. We've talked about this many times. TLDR is we're not really interested in doing it. Why, you might ask? Okay, glad to. Wonderful follow-up question. I think that I think one of the big things is that there are like the specific class fantasies that we really want to push as being a thing. And as soon as you put a let's use D2 as a like I always use D2 as my example. It's a fitting day to use it though, because it's the restart, and so let's say we add D2's merc system into our game, just wholesale 1-to-1. There's mercs, you can equip them with partial gear, they have fixed abilities, and they go and fight stuff, and that's it. Great, cool. Suddenly you now have a pet on classes that didn't have access to pets before basically at all, except through items like mage, and you have scenarios where classes that have specific effects for on a single pet, when you're like, I'm gonna build my character around I'm only ever have a single pet, now have 2 pets, because there's effects like there's that amulet that so yeah, let's look at why those 2 scenarios are possibly problematic. There are certain items in the game already that and effects in general that assume there's only that function best when you only have 1 pet, and function specifically when you have a specific pet as well. And so you can be in a situation where oh hey, I'm using this pet with this item, and it's really good because it gives a random minion this thing, and I'm making the sacrifice to only have 1 pet in order to make the random element of this go away, so that it always forces it onto my main pet. I think that's an interesting interaction, an interesting build design choice that goes away because you already have access to a second pet now. That's kind of free. There's no thing missing from it. I don't think it adds a lot of depth, but it does add complexity. So you've got another character to gear and everything like that, but I don't necessarily think it adds a ton of mechanical depth, really, unless we go like really hard on it, sort of thing. I'm gonna say as well. Oh yeah, classes that just don't have them. There's actually a third thing as well. Classes that don't have them. So there's classes that we're specifically designing as, hey, this class functions best with no pets. It's not designed to have any pets. The pet granting items don't thematically fit with it. They don't mechanically fit with it very well. And hey, it doesn't have any pets on its tree, basically, because there's 1. And I think that idea of like a petless character that's solo, and you have this quote unquote free character to add on to that build, it kind of diminishes that class fantasy. class identity. Which brings me to the third one, is the classes that we have set up as more gear focused and more taking advantage of gear, and sort of like the one class that feels like it's forgotten, that it hasn't been forgotten sometimes, that sometimes feels like it's forgotten but it hasn't been, is Forge Guard. And I think that there is quite a bit of the like thematic mechanical themes that come into play from having your Manifest Armor and Forge Guard character that get sort of like trampled on by having a minion or having a mercenary. So I would really like to see Manifest Armor behave more like people would hope it to, or kind of expect it to on first glance, which is something we've been working on. I talk about frequently. It's not in the cards yet. We're still working on it. Don't know how to do it exactly yet. But I keep saying yet because I am very intended on improving that. Ooh, come off it. Is it possible for when glyphs, shards, and runes are more numerous on the ground, it can be stacked so that it can be easier to pick up in chunks than each individual item being picked? Am I missing something? I don't think I'm understanding the question probably, because I think it does this already. Maybe there's like a setting that you possibly have accidentally turned off. Look in the settings. I think it is not a setting. I think it's just automatically there. So like when there's two items that are like glyphs, shards, runes, and other what's the term? Fungible rewards like this. Here's a great example. So there's three of them like this. I don't have to pick up each individual item. He's probably close enough I can do that too. I only pick up one and it picks them all up. So if yours is not doing that, something's wrong. That's what I get for taking my hand off the keyboard and mouse to look at chat or look at questions. Killed by a Joth bear. You know what it seems like a good time for? We do have a little teaser we do today. Just a little one. This is some art, some concept art, some 2D concept art for something that is coming next season. I should have done like a little scale thing here, because this is scale's pretty big. Scale's bigger than it seems. There's a person in there. That person's a big person. Not huge, but they're big. Will there be more ways to empower your friends in co-op? Pushing greater rifts with a group in Diablo 3 was one of my favorite activities. Yeah, this is the sort of thing that I was sort of alluding to earlier in the stream, where I was talking about how there are certain situations where we've put restrictions on the game to prevent a burden of optimal play situation from arising where you can maybe get some sort of minor or even possibly substantial advantage in your overall progression system if you like build up specific echoes in like a certain order in a team, and you like start joining across people's teams, and you know like there's like coordination bonuses basically for these things, and like that's the sort of thing that we are trying to limit so that there's not these really convoluted mainstream methods for like going through farming and having these sort of like weird interactions be expected. We'd like it to be intuitive, the way that you can approach this with a group, and avoiding moments of like, oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? That should have worked. And like avoiding those moments where it feels natural and you're like, great, I can hop in and play with my friends because that's how it makes sense. We're just gonna rush through this a little bit. I want the next one. All right. Specifically to the question though, will there be more ways to empower your friends in co-op? Yes, like we are adding more. I don't want to say like huge changes to that sort of thing, but yeah, like there's more skills that have synergies. There's more things that have party buffs. There's more things that have enemy debuffs. You know, like all those things do that to some degree. All right. Thoughts on making Rune of Creation not needing forging potential, but obviously still only be able to use once per item. Oh my goodness, I'm doing what I always do. I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot. Okay. Let's just and cut. Great, we're back. Welcome back from the break. Hope you had a good time. Thoughts on making Rune of Creation not needing fortune potential, but obviously still only being able to be used once per item. This is the same issue we were talking about before about adding fortune potential to items and having it require having it be a single time per item effect, and what that means for the item system. So the way that Rune of Creation handles being a one-time per item effect while not causing those problems is by removing all the forging potential. Now the reason we can't that doesn't work with other one-time effects on items for gaining forging potential is hopefully is obvious. We might be hitting the limit of where my character can do without getting some real resistances. Yes, you did. You know you did. Also, I noticed that the sound effects were really loud last time. Can we get Asajj in LE and call it Stone of Judd? I would love that. I think that might be pushing it. I don't know, we've got lots of nods to other games. It would be nice to get a reference to Judd in here. I don't know if there are any direct references to him in the game yet. Like there's lots of things he's put in the game, but I don't know about references to him as Like just him in particular. Whoa, golly Miss Molly. That was a big drop sound and nothing dropped, so that means I'm learning. I'm learning. Someone subbed. Oh, someone subbed a while ago and I missed it. No, I missed a big one. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Well, thank you very much for gifting a sub, Light Kingdom. Congrats, Jefadir. But the big news from half an hour ago, my goodness. You everyone else at the same time, you know that. Anyways, Master Sword, 61 months. Woo! Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Incredible. Keeping the stream rolling. How's that back? Gotta be hurting by now. Carrying so hard. Right.
Easy. Too easy.
Yeah, you say that it's easy, but I mean, we keep dying. So what's that about? Thoughts on adding a mod system into the offline only mode that allows messing with character stats, levels, and item, etc. I would. Have you ever gotten to point in a game like into a single player RPG experience, maybe one you've played a few times, let's use Oblivion as an example, or Skyrim, sure, whatever, any of those games, and you played it through a few times, and you come back to it and you get going and you beat the campaign and you're like, oh, or you're like, I'm just gonna mod the crap out of this, and you spend a week modding it and you've got everything and it's amazing, and then you go, huh, and you move on. I think that if you're using a tool like that for like a lot of players would use a tool like that to just sort of like try everything out and be done, I don't think it would be good in general for the game to have that exist. I do understand that there is a desire to have that's not really where it's coming from as a desire. Probably it's probably coming from, and I could be wrong about where it's coming from, but usually I think questions like this are coming from, hey, I'm trying to create I'm trying to theory craft a build and I want to test it to make sure it works. And that's the intent behind it. But it doesn't always end up translating into the effect that it has on the game as being positive, I don't think. Already answered that one. Are there plans to give all timelines a bit more meaning? After getting all blessings you want for your build and don't need any boss loot, they feel pretty much the same. Yeah, there's a lot of sameness there. There is like the types of like which individual map can show up on each timeline is different. Like there's overlap as well, but like so each map is designated into about a quarter to 3/4 of the different timelines that it can show up in, somewhere in that range. Whoa. And therefore also certain enemies don't show up in certain timelines, things like that. So like there are some differences, but yeah, I can see how it doesn't feel super different. And certain rewards are specific, but again, I can see how that doesn't feel super specific, super different. It feels really the most important thing, even if it is different. It's like if you're drinking lemonade blindfolded, and it's like, was it pink lemonade or regular lemonade? Can you tell? Does it matter? All right. The rest of that question was, it would be cool to give each timeline a really heavyweight uniqueness, maybe via unique affixes that can appear on gear, or for the unique items that aren't anywhere possible to get. for now it is everything, not blessing or boss drop. You can get it everywhere. Yeah. I think there's probably room for a little bit more uniqueness. I don't know what that would look like exactly. Specific items as world drops in individual timelines is, I think, pretty niche knowledge. I don't know if that helps or not. It might. Not sure. About Forge Guard Manifest Armor. Do you have the passive and attack stance where you can direct it with A? Yes, but what I would love is for it to stay more fixed in position where I direct it to. So maybe a longer time it. So maybe longer time it, or also two versions. Yeah, almost like the difference between. Okay, I think I know what this is asking for. This is the difference in like an RTS between offensive stance, defensive stance, and stand ground. So you can be like, stand ground, go here, and don't move from there, something like that. But like fighting that, or fighting this like little ring. I think that's the sort of thing that we'd probably want to put in with like a mechanical thing, like the battle standard mode in Javelin causes your Forge Guard to, or your Manifest Armor. Is Javelin? Those are not mutually exclusive. Like have it like forced to fight near the banner or something like that. And we've done that a little bit with the Falcon, where it's like focusing on specific areas where it like dive bombs or something, or like near the players and near the player's target or something. So maybe we could do similar things with that. In the future, will there be new minion skills for Beastmaster and new totem skills for Shaman? I really like minion and totem builds. We are working on more minion skills in general. Where those are exactly going to go and how they're going to look exactly, I too early to say exactly. But I would not expect the current like arsenal of minions available on Primalist to stay the same. Can we get the ability to dual wield scepters? Probably not. We had a very long debate about this a very long time ago. Discussion might be a better word for it. We talked about which weapons would be dual wieldable in which slots and all that sort of stuff. I could see that being the sort of thing that we might revisit at some point. There wasn't a lot of push from the pro side on that argument. I need to stop letting go of my character. It's like 4 times the stream where I'm just like not touching my keyboard and mouse. We'll get there. You just need to focus, Mike, and actually play instead of doing your job. I just have this picture of like oh, I'm just getting a few runs in while I'm at work. Oh God, I can't help in voice. Sorry, I'm still actually at work. Just get some runs in. Let's go. Okay, but actually, I'm gonna answer some questions. Hypothetically, if someone could complete all echoes in a timeline, what's supposed to happen? Yes, someone is trying that. Yeah. It will run out of available echoes to complete, and you will have to. Eventually, the only options will be a. Eventually, the only options will be a whatchamacallit? A shade. There's not. I'm sorry. There's not like get it. Whoever's doing that, if you're attempting it in hopes of a like an Easter egg or something like that, there are no Easter eggs at the end of that tunnel. I'm sorry. What? I knew I had drinks like lined up. Yeah. Good old high quality H2O. You mentioned before that you want to make more dungeons and have more fun as an endgame mechanic. I really like to. I love the idea behind dungeons. I love the extra ability that it gives you and the play there. I think that's really fun. I think that's the sort of thing that I'll read the rest of the question in a minute, I promise. I think that's the sort of thing when those frequently we get requests of like new things to do at endgame, and how like new mechanics that show up in the monolith doesn't necessarily translate exactly to a new thing to do at endgame. And I think that dungeons are a different thing to do, which is kind of one of the reasons why I really like them. But they're not. I don't think that they're fun. I don't think they're enough fun yet. Is the problem. So the rest of that question. But how do you plan on solving the issue where both dungeons and monoliths complement each other, or complement each other for the player's time rather than competing for it? Solve the issue. I think it's supposed to be like solve the issue where they are competing for each other's time and not complementing that. So the way we try and solve that now is by putting like unique rewards in the dungeon that you can't get in the monolith, and putting the keys for accessing the dungeon in the monolith. So it's the monolith is the main thing, and you want to go do a dungeon, but in order to go do a dungeon, you have to do the monolith. And like there's different rewards from each, and I think you could also put I think the other half of that would be really good too as well. So if you put a thing in the dungeon that says, hey, by doing this dungeon, you're going to be able to like put like temporal keystones or some equivalent in the as that dungeon reward, so that you could say like, okay, by doing a dungeon, I'm actually getting progress in my monolith as well. I think you give rewards for the other mechanics in each of them. And that comes in the form of like these charms as well, so portal charms and scale charms. Like this makes dungeon, like you doing dungeons better because you're either jumping to the end faster or you're getting more stuff along the way.
His pain ripples through time.
All right. Tier 3. I feel like I'm gonna get my butt handed to me. I gotta keep pushing. I don't think I can complete it right now. So I'm right on the edge of what corruption I can do. How have I not found any of these shards yet? This is so frustrating. I want more of these shards. This is one of the. This is the other half. So I've been talking over the last few weeks about how I'm wanting to change the shard system. Not just me, but like in general, we've been talking internally about changing the shard system to alleviate some of the pressures of of like a bajillion affix shards dropping all over the place that don't really mean anything. And I think that the other half of that is like really having a tough time hunting down the ones you do need when you do need them. Three, 48. Right. Is EHG happy with the current state of Rune Master? Most, if not all, invocations aren't used at the top level, which is a shame, to be fair. Yeah, happy, yes. Satisfied, no. Surprised that it's boiled down to like a min-maxing of this is the best invocation for this build, and I'm gonna orchestrate a build to get this invocation. Not really. I think that kind of is part of the like build crafter's appeal is picking like a mechanic and making that mechanic function the way you want it to, and consistency. This sort of like wild magic element of like it's gonna be kind of random on like what happens when I push this button. I don't know if that translates fantastic to an ARPG system in general. I think it would be nice if and this is something that we are trying to do in the updates for Rune Master coming up, is that I think it would be nice if there was more variety in the invocations that did show up, even if you are. Whoa! I must have imprinted it, right? Yeah, I did. Sweet. Okay, well, lovely. Lovely. Right, I forgot I set this up. I bought some stuff to craft on. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. Well, speaking of, how would y'all like to go slam an amulet? Right, this is what I was doing here. So I'm like, this is why I got one with void res on it. So like, I want these three, but if I get the void res, great. I was thinking, Okay, so we want to get the T7 onto the crit chance probably. Havoc, right? Yes. Wonder what that does to our crit chance for our shadows. 'Cause that's the important thing, is our shadow crit chance is like +9 already. We're gonna stop there. Five health. 116's our cap. Low health roll, low crit multi roll. I think that's actually better. A void res roll is minimum. Oh, do I keep going? I think we're just gonna roll with it like that. Yeah, this is the one who's gonna corrupt. Okay. Rune of creation. Is it good enough to creation? I feel like I can get it. I feel I can get those 2 stats again. Is that good enough to, does that warrant a creation for slamming? It's only a single T7. I don't think it does. What level is this? 61. Gotta do this one, I think, right? It's like 65. We can do the easy one. Easy. Depends on how many I have. How many do I have? Why not many? 1. Not worth. Here we go early.
Escape is impossible.
It's so much easier now that we don't hop every time.
Still so much to learn.
All right. I'll get back to answering questions, I swear, in a minute. Sorry. I know there's some questions languishing in the queue. I apologize. I'm just getting absorbed in the game for a moment. This is such a like, let fate decide. Okay, so we don't really want the void res. That's what we're like. We need void res, so it's not the end of the world if we get it. But I think health's better in general. Any plans to polish the beginning acts from campaign perspective? I personally think the transition from Act 1 to Act 2 is very abrupt and jarring, and the new players I played with all felt off about it. A cinematic there after talking to Balthas would do wonders to the first impressions. Yeah, I agree. The cinematic there would be very useful. I think most of our campaign focus right now is on finishing the last campaign chapters. And so I think that's where most of that energy is going right now. But I would like to see more polish on that early stages. Yeah, I do. I think I agree. We'll take it. Okay, we're gonna do this. And I'm just gonna wear it for a little bit. I know this is not in the 2craft bin, but we're just gonna wear it for a bit. Hang out with it. Bask in it. Relax. Enjoy it. We'll corrupt it at the very end. We don't have long left. We'll corrupt it, don't worry. Yeah, I got 3 of these. There we are. Yeah. So we're looking for bows too. Should we slam this on? Okay, we're really hoping for the flat to be the T7. Okay. It's low. Since it's just T2, the others are a backup. Do we roll the weighting of this to try and get that up higher? Because we're going to force that to happen no matter what. Is the extra 4, potentially 4, worth if we miss and hit the Fizz res? Have that be higher. Other rolls and other things. 20 is already capped. 43 is pretty good. Well, that answers that question. It's okay, we're gonna hit, doesn't matter. What level is this? 68. So we do have to do the tier 3. A little bit tougher. It's okay, we can do it. Hello, Mike. Are you interested in ever adding an in-game item wiki akin to Last Epoch Jewels? Is there something speaking against it from a game design standpoint, in your opinion? Yes. Like a full detailed every possible item that could happen. I think there's a bit of a risk in it can take away some of the discovery element. Like let's take it from I know this is not how we do a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that already break this rule, but let's look at it from like a diegetic perspective of this character. How does it know that like some specific item even exists in the world, right? Oh, let's stay behind option there.
Epoch, I will have it.
Real early, good, we're clean.
Escape is impossible. Sapphire water.
Easy. Too easy.
Maggot.
We're good. We're good. It's okay. Deep breath. I don't know why I'm scared of that. I've just been messing it up so many times recently. Okay. Does the deadly... Oh, yes. I'm gonna look this up, I promise. Someone asked about this recently. I said I was going to look it up. I am going to look it up. I promise. I have it written down to look up. Does the deadly modifier enemies deal 2 times damage until damaged apply to omens while they are invulnerable? I think the answer is yes, but I don't know. And I am going to look it up still. I'll figure that out in Discord. Unless someone in chat knows or someone on the team's listening knows, I'll answer it. When will we finally get the mythical lizard level? All I can really say is that there is no lizard level. Lore-wise, what's your opinion on adding gender or race to playable classes? Can't see what emoji that is, it's crossed out. To playable classes, for example, an Osprix Sentinel or Wingari Acolyte, etc. As an added menu or character creation. I would love to. We've talked about this a few times. There's some technical hurdles to make it even possible. There's some lore implications that would need to have some retconning happen, sort of thing. I think the biggest question is that, let's say hypothetically we do nothing mechanical with that and we just do it as like a flavor thing. Is there a good reason to do that? What is this? Is there enough draw to do that without any mechanical changes? I don't know. I think one of the really cool things about like picking individual races in like WoW, for example, they have mechanical differences to them. I think that's really cool. Some of those were really overpowered by comparison in early days. I don't actually know what it looks like now. So every time I talk about WoW, just imagine it's still Wrath. Hey, look at that! We hit. All right. Let's switch over to that bad boy. Are we gonna do like a little corrupting spree at the end of this one? Do this one, do this one, do this one. Just ruin all my gear. Yay! Okay, let's go play with what we've got now and see how it feels. Go see how we do. Are you considering implementing a guild system? Yeah, it's definitely something we're looking at.
Possibility.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like immediate confirmation bias, but it feels like we just bumped up our power quite a bit.
Reflection trembles.
0.3 seconds on our cooldown went away, which is not great, and we lost some dex from that too. We have dodge again, and our armor went up too.
Easy, too easy.
Are we blinding everything now too? Is that what this is? Yeah, blind. Which, yes, this changes a lot. Wow, that's good noise. Which good noise was that? I gotta learn the good noises. Thanks, good noise. Oh, what happened to our resistances? Like didn't actually get any from that, did we? Right. We had backup stuff for resistances, but it didn't hit that. Have you guys added a playstyle similar to Spectral Throw from PoE, but not for the rogue yet? I just don't like the vibes of Paladin. I want multi-shot boomerang playstyle as it is my favorite, especially with a fast dashing evasion archetype. Closest thing on rogue, because it definitely exists on Sentinel, big time. Closest thing to rogue would be like Shuriken, Chakram Spect, I guess. Bladestorm.
He has seen your fate.
I think partially because it already like exists pretty one-to-one in like base functionality and style on Sentinel, we like chance of chance of it being added directly to rogue is pretty low. I guess we just need better corruptions, right? That has resists on it. I'm gonna find some of those shards for my helmet to chaos off that mod we're not using, the smoke bomb warden mod that we're not using at all. So next stream we can fix that one. I do think we're stronger now. We're not strong enough yet. We must go stronger. Oh, that's not a good sound. Stance on Obsidian Resonance. Yeah, this is another one of those things that we're looking at again. Still way too rare. The time I can trade items to a friend I play so much time with is too rare. You get flooded with golden resonances, but the obsidian ones can be easily be tripled in frequency or removed altogether and just play with the golden ones. Yeah, I think there's like almost in the time it takes to find an obsidian resonance, but by the time you found one, like your character just like doesn't care about items that fall in the category for golden ones like at all.
Would you witness fate?
And like the rarity of items that fit in the categories of golden ones are like so low that you've like you just there's no need to trade for them because you can just find them, sort of thing, or share them. I guess I should say, not trade them. I know I should do that. I'm not confident in my survival ability. Okay. Yeah, so I think that the this is the sort of thing that we've been talking about in general, about this whole like preventing burn of optimal play, causing like play patterns, like bad play patterns, sort of thing, due to abuse. I think that there is it's so far in the buffer zone where like it's just so far outside of anywhere that it's abusable, and it's like it could be dialed back to be and still not be abusable really. But we really want to focus on this is something I'm really interested in focusing on going forward, is just having the average player fun experience and like have that be smooth. And you know, I think that it's another moment of like, oh, I got this item that lets me like trade with my friend and like help him out and give this item to him that I found, and like that's awesome. But hey, it is like, oh, it doesn't work with that one, right? And it's that disappointment moment that's frustrating. I think that if we were to like, let's say split, let's hypothetical change. Not that this is not something we're directly considering. I don't know the exact plans for this or anything, but hypothetical change. We split the difference and we say, okay, we can combine them into one. There's just resonances, and the drop rate's exactly in the halfway point between the two of them right now. Great. Okay. So I think that one of the positive things that a golden resonance, a split resonance system does that would have an issue there, is that there's now the opportunity for someone to use something that's still pretty darn rare on something that maybe doesn't need to be used. And so one of the advantages to having this dual system, and I'm not saying it's reason enough to have it or perfect system by any stretch, but one of the good things that it does do is it signposts to newer players that, hey, maybe don't spend this on the basic item sort of thing. I'd almost like to see like drop the, so here's something I hadn't thought of, like drop the golden resonance rate, let's say like cut both of their, or double both of their drop rates. I just picking numbers out of the air, but cap the number of golden resonances or either resonance that you can have at one time, so you can only have 5 of them or something like that. Probably solves a lot of the issues. I don't know if I've heard that suggested before. There's some complexity there that's like so as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, like this sounds great. But I'm realizing as I'm thinking here that the complexity level that it's rising to is probably not worth the depth that it's granting, and probably not worth the convenience that it's granting. And it's probably better to just take a simpler approach and release some of the rules, relax some of the rules. Would be my gut feeling on it. It's not something we've talked about recently internally, and I'm really interested in having more conversations about it though. Temporal keystones, we take them. All right, we have come to the end of the stream, and hopefully you know what that means. It means welcome to the slam. We've got 3 that we're slamming. Is this one? Yeah, it's corruption. I would accept 3 no changes here. I would accept 3 just, it's corrupted, nothing happened, great. What do I want? I hope they all get some form of resistances. It's probably not the best thing they can get. This is actually what plus skills on, but like, I'd be happy with resistances. Better than nothing. Very marginally better than nothing. We do throwing damage. It's okay, we do throwing damage here. Sure. We're past the hard one. That was the hard one. That was the one that we cared the most about because we didn't really have a fantastic replacement. We have the old one, but this one's better. Oh, back to square one with ya. Oh no. I'm sorry, Matt. Well, that's better. We got one upgrade this stream. We take those. All right. Last question before we roll out of here. Do you guys have any plans to rework Acid Flask as it's one of the weakest trees in the game? The only good spec is fire. On the right, you nerfed its synergy with explosive traps. Poison in LE seems very weak as it is. It would be cool if there was a way, if there were more like poison concoction in PoE 2. Yep, it's interesting because it's poison acid flask has many times been like one of the most powerful builds in the game, in different ways. And so, you know, things come and go sort of thing. I think that's fine. In general, you know, there are some cool things coming for acid flask. I can't. It comes up and I'm like, I remember things that are happening. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I know it's the same. I say the same thing for every single one of them. I wouldn't say plans to rework acid flask. I don't think it's. I think mechanically it has a lot of interesting things, and fun nodes that it has, and like ways that it can trigger and ways that it can interact with other things. I think are fun, and I think that the nodes in its tree are cool. I'm a big fan of it. It might not be the most powerful thing right now. I don't think that requires a rework. And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. I hope you all had fun. I know I did. I will be back same time, same place next week. If I didn't answer your question, I apologize. It's not intentional. Please head on over to our Discord, Ask the Devs channel. You can post it there and I will do my best to answer it. Let's go say hi to someone. Oh, because I didn't answer his questions. I'm so sorry. I will, I promise. Have a good day, everybody. Drink lots of water. See you next week.